Hi everyone, welcome to the CA Fateh MBA podcast, and I am very happy to welcome the next guest on board, Fateh. Fateh is my batchmate from IIM Ahmedabad. He has finished his CA and then went on to work with Engineers India Limited. Post his MBA, he's joined Shell in their finance team, but briefly he's also given the prestigious UPSC exam and has reached the interview stage while working full time. Welcome, Fateh, to the channel.
Thanks, Anirudh. Really nice to meet you. Since I think we are meeting for the first time face to face after we left the campus. So yeah, feeling very nice.
Yeah, Fateh, really glad you could join us. Fateh, let's start the conversation. Why don't you take us through the memory lane and then tell us a little bit about your childhood and how was it like for you, the schooling and everything, and what made you choose CA as a profession?
But at that point in time, we were living, the typical movies like rural lifestyle where you got, limited hours of electricity. We used to get electricity for 7 hours in a day. I mean, day and night put together, 24 hours. So in a week, you get, 7 hours during daytime. In a week, you get 7 hours during, night time. So you have to manage somehow. So all that was there. But I mean, I would say it's not a kind of, all those things somehow are. I mean, in a way, those are beneficial also because let's say no electricity, no TV, no distractions. So there are positive things, positive sides to those things as well. And from family perspective, I was like youngest of four. Uh, Talking about schooling, my schooling, entire schooling has been in the medium school. So we didn't have that many great schools, that being a small town. So we didn't have many big schools and then popular schools. So most, like all of my schools were in the medium schools. How did I get into CA? Honestly, it was all like, just maybe nature's conspiracy, you can say because I never believed I could do CA because after 10th I took commerce. I mean, because I knew one thing: if you take math science, then you have to go to Kota and prepare for IIT and all, which I thought probably not feasible given my circumstances at that point in time. So then I thought, okay, let's say commerce because I was not, I had been a good student, mostly class topper, in earlier classes. So I took the commerce and then, but when I took commerce and then I started talking to friends who were planning to do CA and all. So most of them they would say, and for right reasons, that CA is an extremely difficult exam, and then only 2-3% people are able to qualify it in the first attempt. So very very difficult. So I kind of used to lack that self confidence at that point in time, like severe lack of self confidence. So I used to think I would never be able to do this course. Huh? It's so difficult, and I don't have any background. I did not have even my remotest relative was not even an MCom. Forget CA. So and nobody, no postgraduates in the entire close family itself. So I thought no, I won't be able to do it. So I didn't even think of applying. But someday I remember, I was walking to in the market, and then one of my friend he told me, "What are you planning to do after?" It was after 12th class, schools were over. He said, I said, "Maybe we have got summer vacations. After that, I'll think of something." And then he said, "Why don't you apply for CA? I am applying for it." And he told me that, "See, you have been class topper. I studied with you. So if I can think of doing it, why can't you do it?" So I thought, okay, maybe he's making a good suggestion. So then I went back and told my father that I want to apply for the CA exam. It's a very interesting story. That day was actually the last day for filling application for we had this June 2009 attempt for CPD. That day was the last day for application. Now applications you can't get in my hometown. You have to go to Jaipur and then buy a application form, and then and we had this notorious practice of giving demand drafts. For that also takes some time. You could not make online payments at that point in time. So I told my father, and we thought, okay, not this attempt, maybe next attempt. But then my father spoke to somebody in Jaipur, and then next day morning we got a form. Okay, I mean my father used to run newspaper agency, so we had this one of the newspapers had office close to the ICI office in Jaipur. So my father spoke to somebody. Those guys knew all about CA. It was adjacent building only. So next day morning, along with the newspapers, one form came, and that guy called my father. He said the deadline is extended by 1 day. So if you can make it today, then it's possible. So yeah, that day itself we went and got the DD, everything, and then we went there, and then I got the admission. So yeah, I mean, sometimes I wonder had I not met that friend of mine had that, the deadline not extended by 1 day, probably things could have been different because then you may even drop the plan to do it, no? So that was the, I would say, that was the, first great coincidence that happened in my life.
Amazing. I
And
mean,
then,
like you said, the universe conspired to get that thing done for
yeah,
you.
truly. Yeah,
Yeah.
guys.
And also, that also shows the kind of impact you have when you surround yourself with people who uplift you, that friend who nudge you to go to this path, right? I think that kind of
Yeah,
changed the
true, true,
trajectory of
true.
your life.
Yeah, true, true, true. That guy. I mean, he himself didn't, couldn't, wasn't, I mean, unfortunately was not able to complete CA, but I still remember him, every time I think about, how my life has been in the
Yeah.
past, that one moment had, greatest impact.
Yeah. And now, Fateh, take us through how your CA journey was, because a lot of our viewers are aspiring CAs, and they would be very much interested to learn about it from you, how you took that journey. How was your articleship journey like, preparing for the CA final? Take us through that.
I went to Jaipur because we didn't have any coachings and all at my place. So I went to Jaipur and then I enrolled into this coaching institute, which is a pretty famous coaching institute there. And again, as I was telling, severe lack of self confidence. So I used to think, oh my God, this is a big city. Huh? All these people are nicely dressed. They speak in English. I was an Hindi medium student. I didn't know how to speak English. So that inferiority complex kind of gets multiplied. But then they were having this scholarship test. I mentioned this in one of our classes in campus also. So they were having this institute was organizing a scholarship test, and I didn't believe I had any chances. Or reluctantly, we went to give the test, and then next day, my landlord's son, no, he comes running around shouting, "Oi, साले तेरा अखबार में photo है." I said like, why there my photo is there going to be in the newspaper? So apparently the institute had given a big ad, and then I got third rank in that state level scholarship test. So that was moment of we talk about these transformation moments in life, So that was a transformation kind of transformative moment for me in terms of uplifting the confidence. Okay, so then you start believing that no, it's you can do things. It's not that you don't have. Maybe you may not know a lot of things, but there are certain things that you are good at. So afterwards, then probably I never look back in terms of at least in terms of confidence. Then CPT I scored fairly, great marks, and then it was like some uh, 165 marks out of 200 at that point in time. It was great. Oh, and then I got into this mid-sized CA firm through one of my father's friends connect. There, okay, I'll be honest, and you can relate to this experience. First year was literally like hell because you're just a 16, 17-year-old boy. You have not done anything, and then the moment you move into these CA forms, and then those are all experienced CAs, okay, extremely knowledgeable, and so they would have a level of expectation, and that level of expectation will be much beyond our capabilities at that point in time. So first year was very very tough. I whole lot of uh, these tough talks with my principal at that point in time. It was so tough to the extent that I even thought that if I had any other option in my life, I would have given up CA at that point in time, not because of studies, for articleship alone. But then after a year, I started seeing a change in myself. That okay, I didn't know a lot of stuff 1 year ago, but then I started getting good at things. So we did everything. I mean, one benefit of being in a mid-sized firm is that you get to do everything. So you do statutory audits, internal audits, bank audits, and then even to the extent taxation, even to the extent of company secretary's job. Okay, so drafting resolutions and filing those Minister of Corporate Affairs forms and everything, you name it, and then we did. So then I started to see that change in me, and then I mean, honestly, at that point in time, all of us we used to curse our boss at that point. And he was so tough. Huh? You make one error, and then you are going to get a beating. But now, when I look back, probably that was the phase which kind of defined me because then you get into that mindset that okay, you have to precise, you have to be accurate, you have to do the hard work, and then you can do it because you have done it before. So so yeah, articleship played a great role, I would say. I mean, I really, really respect and admire my boss now. I have frequent connects with him now. Earlier, I was literally scared of talking to him, but now I call him, and then whenever I go to Jaipur, then if I get a chance, then I go and meet him. Then for IPCC and final also, I cleared in the first attempt, both groups. So that was good, and then I went ahead for campus placements, and then I got selected Engineers India Limited.
Right. I think that's the beauty of the course. The articleship period is something that really transforms a person.
True, true, true. Absolutely true.
Yeah, at such a young age, you get to interact with such senior folks with so much knowledge. It can kind of humbles you to learn more. And I would
True, true.
definitely relate to what you were saying that the first year is the toughest.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
third year is the best. You get junior articles, and then you can give a lot of
Yeah.
work to them as
Right.
well.
Fateh, what does this course, the CA course, mean to you in your life, and how has it impacted your life in general?
I would say it's everything to me because this was the course which marked my transition from a the low self confidence rural boy to a person who is kind of who gets into this professional journey, and then so it was extremely important, and even more so because see in general we know how learning takes place in individuals life, and then the learning that takes place earlier in your life plays actually a much bigger role in shaping you as a person than what happens later. So that was the time of adolescence, and then during that time the hard work, and then working for a long hours, and then studying and everything, so that I would say very, very tough kind of journey gives you that much self confidence that when you go out into corporate, no, then you are pretty relaxed. Okay, I have done all this and I can do it. So that shapes you as a person. In fact, you share this experience that for us, doing PGPX for us was significantly different than people who have probably not gone through that articleship plus that difficult, very, very complicated studies and long hours studying and working. So why? Why? Because we are already prepared. No, what worse can happen? No, all the worst things have happened to us during articleship itself. So I think it has played a big, big role in terms of improving my self confidence, in terms of even in terms of knowledge, in finance, accounting, all the things. So you always believe, although I might not remember all the facts right now, but I know where to look for, and then how to quickly absorb that information, how to do the analysis. So all those things are, I think, personally as well as professionally, it has been a huge, huge impact.
I agree, and I mirror what you're trying to say, and I get it completely. I remember how even when I started was I had such low confidence in terms of what I could do. I knew I had a capability, but that confidence was lacking. But over
Yes.
the years, I've definitely built on it, and it gives you a lot of opportunity for self improvement. I mean, you need the self discipline because it's a course where nobody's telling you what to do. You have to drive it. So yeah, completely agree. And Fateh, why don't you then also take us through your UPSC journey? Because I'm sure that is also an important part or a phase of your life.
Yeah, true. So UPSC also interesting story. Again, never had any plans of UPSC. Okay, I didn't know anything. Anybody who was like the district collector or anything. I mean, where I can derive the inspiration from. So actually, it was my principal. Okay, my boss in articleship. Okay, so when the day I qualified, when the results were out for CA final, I went to him, and naturally, if your boss is going to care about your results and all as well. So I was so happy. I went to him, sir. I become a chartered accountant and cleared both groups in first attempt. So his expression was like pretty neutral. Okay. He told me, okay, I knew you are going to become a CA in first attempt itself. He was pretty confident about my capabilities because I used to work very closely with him. Then he said, "This is okay. I know you could have done it, but then he said, I think you can do something better. Okay, so you can do something like other than this, other field." So he said, "I think you should try for UPSC. I feel that you can clear it." So it was nowhere in the plans at that point in time. So in fact, he told me, okay, if you have some constraint, I can help you out. You go to New Delhi, and then if you have some problems in getting coachings and all, I can arrange that. But I feel that you can do it. But then so he told me not to sit for campus and then go for this UPSC thing. But so me being a typical that Indian mindset, you do not want to continue to become a liability in your parents. So I thought, okay, let me just go for campus and then we will see how it works out. So I was sitting for campus placements and then I got selected in Engineers in AI Limited, and then it was a good offer. Okay, you get at that point in time it was around 5.5 lakhs first year, and then after 1 year when your training is over, it was shooting up to 10.5 lakhs. Okay, so 10.5 lakhs in 2013. Imagine that would have been a great thing for anybody. So I spoke to my father and he told me, do you not want to pursue that? But I knew your father is going to do anything for your dreams, but still you also have to see from the other side, are you becoming a financial, can you support them financially in some manner? So I took up the job, and then after that I thought of, preparing it. So I did a little bit of, I think, and then I started doing a little bit of self studies, and then I started preparing along with the job. So, and after that, I got married. In 2017 itself, I was married. So then it became kind of complex. Managing time. If you are doing a full time job, and afterwards, your family, and then how do you manage it? So I could not afford to take coachings. I did take for a few subjects and here and there, but I last year I didn't take any coachings because you simply don't have time to take coachings. Now you are going to office, and then at times you will have work after office hours also. So I didn't take any coachings. With self studies, I managed to kind of clear prelims 3 times, cleared mains also. I mean, first time when I cleared prelims, I was pretty confident, and then I had good preparation. But then when I was about to go ahead with the mains exam, just before about, let's say, about 20, 25 days ago, I got tested with dengue and malaria both positive at the same time. So it was a very very bad fever, and I literally had to be hospitalized. So yeah, that attempt got wasted. That was probably my best chance to clear it, because first time when you clear prelims, then you are very very energetic, and then you think you can, and you are younger also relatively, so much better concentration power. So that time I gave the exam, but if you have been on medication for past 20 days in a hospital, this your brain itself won't be working as efficiently. Next time I cleared prelims again, and then later on I went to clear mains as well. Appeared for the interview. Got a better than average score in terms of UPSC interview. But again, it boils down to your score of mains exam as well as interview put together. So even if you're great in interview, still your mains exams also need to be added. Where generally a person who is not having as much time to practice the writing, no writing practice, so then your chances go down, because you would not be scoring as many in the written exams. I'm not sure if you have seen the 12th that 12th 12th fail movie, or 12th pass or 12th fail or whatever. So that actually, you remember that the lead, when he was sitting in that room where he was listening to all those sounds. So I have been in that situation, and it's really really frightening. And you feel great also, because you are kind of getting inside that building and sitting even for that interview feels like a great achievement. So but I mean, I was kind of, I would say, one can say overconfident, but I was kind of still confident that I can do, along with the job also I can do it. But then the defining moment for me was when my son was born. So that time I had to take this call. I mean, you can't work and study all the time. No, you have to spend time. So then I started realizing, okay, this thing is important, but probably not the most important thing in life. So then I thought, okay, can I continue to do this? And then I started having questions in my mind. And then again, one person came to, give me a good advice. This was my friend. She was from Yale only, and she got into IIM Ahmedabad PGP. Okay, so she was also a CA, and she told me, that she had been in campus for one year, and then she told me, there is this program called PGPX. So before that, I didn't know PGPX. I so she told me that I think you can make it to PGPX. So then one day I took this call, okay, UPSC versus PGPX. Should I give for next UPSC attempt or should I give PGPX? And then I, considering my family, at the time that I wanted to go to my family, I chose PGPX because that's something which gives you where you can be a little bit more confident in terms of your hard work and you can predict the outcome to some extent. Okay, UPS is like totally unpredictable. No matter how you prepare it, you might fail. Even IAS officer can fail in next year's prelims exam. It is to that extent it's unpredictable. So I took that call and then I started GMAT prep. And then I got, I would not say it was a great score. It was a manageable score, fortunately, but I was able to I applied with that score. I was not even thinking of securing admission that year. Okay, my plan was next year because you can't just start thinking about getting into IIMA 6 months before and then actually making it. So I thought, okay, this let me just experience the process and I'll prepare again, improve my GMAT, and then apply next year. But then suddenly I get this call. You have been shortlisted for an interview, and then I go ahead for interview, and that also I think it might prolong the conversation, but there is one interesting story there as well. So UPSC interview, sorry, the PGPX interview, I got the mail. Okay, and somehow in my head, no, it has happened to me 2 3 times. I messed up the date and day. Okay, so I thought that the interview is on a particular day. Okay, and I was in my mind I was prepared according to that. It was supposed to be next day actually. So I was sitting in this barber shop and getting all beard and all, and because tomorrow I had to go for the work. So I just woke up that day, was just did some morning walks. I think it was Saturday or Sunday, something like that. So I did. I was sitting in this barber shop, and then one guy actually calls me. Okay, it was actually J who called me. So he said, "Where are you?" I said, "Yeah, who are you?" And then I'm here at my home. He said, "Your interview is there." I said, "What? My interview is tomorrow." He said, "No, it's right after half an hour." So I said, "No, it's tomorrow." So he told me, "Can you please recheck the dates?" Then I realized, oh my God, I've done a blunder. So I literally was kind of requesting, can anything be done? Can it be done online? He said, no, if you can reach in, let's say, next 15 20 minutes, we can go ahead with it. But then I was living in Rajouri Garden, and the interview was, quite far. It was within Delhi, but it was quite far. It was impossible to reach. Even, I mean, even if you take fast mode of transport, you could not reach. So then I was literally from barber shop. I told him, okay, I don't need you stop wherever you are. Okay, I don't want beard and all. I just leave it. So I literally was running towards my house, and then Jay called me again, and then he was. He could sense that I was literally, my breath was actually very, very fast. And then he told me, okay, I have spoken to the professors. If you can make it to the venue in, let's say, next 45 minutes or something, we can go ahead with the interview. So, and then I went home, nothing, no beard and all. I just took my suit, and then you'll be laughing. I pressed ironed my shirt only from the front side because that's what is visible, And I took a tie, and then I went to this auto guy. He said 500 rupees. I said, okay, usually it'll be 200. I said, okay, you just go. And then within the auto, I was trying to tie my tie, and then I reached there, and then yeah, fortunately, I was actually the last candidate was just coming out of the interview. After that, their plan was to kind of conclude everything and move back. But then I was able to reach just before the last candidate. And then the interview started, and as you know, like professors in Ahmedabad, they're really, really gracious, and they understood that. I mean, although they didn't know the real reason, but they understood that Delhi is a big city. You might have traffic and all problems, so we are fine even if there is any delay. In that interview, again, see, all the hard work that you do in your life actually comes at your help at some point or another. So we have that assembly round in the beginning of interview itself. So you take out a chit and then you have to speak on the topic, defend the topic, or be against it, whatever. So I took it, and then it was, uniform in colleges. That was the topic. Okay, that was a burning issue at that point in time. And then I was like pretty relaxed. I've done all these social issues. That's what you study in UBS. Oh, all for the debate and all. So we had a very good conversation, and then so I think it was the interview which probably helped me in getting into IIM Ahmedabad rather than my GMAT score. GMAT score was not as great. So, but interview went pretty well, and largely because of the UPSC background. Because Professor Vinny Virmani was there in the interview, okay, and then he was asking about the impact of this Russia-Ukraine war on India, and then this how this the monetary policy impact. And those are not like they don't ask for simple facts, huh? They want some analysis. Do you actually understand it, huh? And everybody knows inflation goes up, then you kind of change the repo rate, and then but he would ask for like how does it actually impact, what happens behind the scene. So that's how it went well, because of largely because of UPSC preparation. And then yeah, the rest all we met at the
Amazing
campus.
story. But I had such fun listening to it. There were parts where I had goosebumps. I was like, what the heck is happening? I mean,
Well,
I did
literally
not
like
know about all this
50%.
while I was at the campus with you, but I'm so glad I'm having this conversation with you.
One more interesting thing, just before my interview was about to begin, there was this another guy who was coming out from another panel. Okay. And literally his body was sweating to the extent that sweat was visible outside also. And he was totally scared. And then, oh my God, you're asking anything and everything. Imagine seeing that, and then you are going to go for the interview, right? You are the next guy.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, again, that all the hard work that you have done during your CA days, and then all the knowledge that you gain during UPSC, that kind of gives you that level of self confidence that okay, what's the worst that can happen? Okay, I know many things, and then outcome is not. I mean, nobody knows what the outcome is going to be, but at least you are more or less confident of your own capabilities, which helps you in being a calm person during that situation and giving good answers.
Fateh, I asked this question to all our guests, and it is my favorite one. What is your two best or the top learnings that you have from IIM Ahmedabad?
So first thing is you have to keep learning. That's the first thing. Because moment you go to the campus, then you realize. Before that, you might be thinking, okay, I know a lot of stuff. But when you go there, when you attend the classes of those legendary professors, then you realize there is so much left to learn. For example, you take a strategic corporate finance course of Professor Jayan Verma, and then you realize there is so much for you to learn in corporate finance. I mean, so much of perspective is still missing. So I think that's one most important thing, that learning is, you have to continue it throughout your life. And then you look at all those, even the professors, they themselves keep on doing research. And so that's one thing. And I would say personally, biggest thing I would say is humility. Okay. So that entire campus itself kind of grooms you into that kind of having that kind of qualities, because you go there, all the people that you see there, they are top of their class. Okay, all the professors you see there, they are top in their fields. And then we see a lot of these distinguished alumni visiting the college, and they are so humble. You address them straight away with their names itself. So that humility, I think, is a very, very important trait character-wise, which I think you get to experience at IMA, and then you try to incorporate in your life later on as well. Because if people who are so talented, who have achieved so much, and maybe probably could have achieved even more if they were trying something else. So those people being so humble, they are listening to whatever our opinions are. Imagine, because our opinions in front of them, I mean, they would sometimes be laughing. What are these guys talking about? Because they are so intelligent. So still they remain that humble, and then listen, and then offer advice wherever possible, and no sign of arrogance at all. So I think this consistent learning and humility, I would say these would be two top most important things.
Amazing, Fateh. With this, we come to the end of our podcast. Any final parting advice that you have to our audience, the aspiring CAs and MBAs out there?
Okay, so yeah. So I think, see, CAs and MBA from, at least from Ahmedabad, both are extremely difficult. Don't think it's a cakewalk. I mean, don't even think you get selected for IIM Ahmedabad and then you don't have to do anything. It's actually even tougher after getting into at least IIM Ahmedabad. So both courses are extremely difficult. And probably one advice I can give um, is I think I'm reading a lot of Swami Vivekananda's books these days, and one important thing that I find in his readings and then we can relate to also is that most important thing in life is concentration. Okay, so he says that degree of our concentration defines degree how quality of your life is defined by degree of your concentration. And then he went on to say that if I were to live my life all over again, I'll just focus solely on improving my concentration power and then all the knowledge you can get at your will. So I think both of these courses require immense amount of concentration. So I think people, anybody who is aspiring to do it should think of ways in which they can improve their concentration, eliminate the distractions. And there is a whole lot of literature available online these days. So you have to find ways and you have to see where you are. And especially if somebody is not getting results, there is something lacking, and that lacking is not in the adverse circumstances. That is probably most likely your concentration levels are not as good as these courses would demand. So, yeah, that would be the most important advice. Above everything, just focus on how you can improve your concentration power, and then definitely all these things. Sometimes nobody can predict the outcome, nobody can guarantee, but still your chances increase significantly. So to focus on increasing your concentration power and then removing your distractions. So as a student, that's the most important thing, I guess, which a person can do.
Thanks, Fateh. I had an amazing time talking to you. Thank you so much for being on this podcast.